Sorry about that, babe.
Alright guys, just wanted to give you some quick notes before we start the actual run, and I also want to apologize in advance. This is a long run. It's kind of hard to do commentary that long, especially when you're not an actual expert of the game, which I am definitely not for The Legend of Zelda. Anyways, here are some general tips to keep in mind to get through The Legend of Zelda, and hopefully without dying. Number 1, keep notes. This game is very confusing. Things are hidden. A lot of the dungeons can be confusing. Keep your notes, keep your pathing. If you have clear notes, clear pathing, and you know exactly what you need to do, the game gets so much easier. It's when you get lost and confused, that's when it gets hard. 2, gear up. Especially at the beginning of the game, do your best to be as overpowered as possible. You should be completely maxed out by like mid-game. Like you shouldn't have to be looking for anything at that point, whether it be extra heart containers on the overworld, you know, sword upgrades, so on and so forth. Do all that stuff as early as possible and make the game as easy as possible, and that way it helps you to not die. 3, don't be afraid to grind. If you need to get some extra heart pieces, if you need some extra rupees, it doesn't really matter. Just take your time, go about your business, and grind efficiently. 4, make sure to keep your potions stocked. There are tons of potion areas around the overworld. Coincidentally, many of them are almost right next to all the dungeons. Don't grab the blue potion, it's a waste of your money. Grab the red, as it does 2 full heals. Keep them stocked. That way you can prevent yourself from dying if you run into an issue like I actually do during this run. I was able to use 2 of them in a dungeon, and then right after I just go grab some more. 5, if you're having a lot of trouble or you need to go get bombs or whatever the case may be, don't be afraid to leave the dungeons and go back. I don't do that in this run to my knowledge, but I've done it in the past on casual playthroughs. Don't feel obligated to finish a dungeon. Like if you're not in a good shape, like you have no potions left, you ran out of bombs, whatever the case may be, leave, go do your stuff, and come back. Lastly, most importantly, have fun. If you're not having fun during these runs or whatever you're trying to do, whether it be no death, some sort of challenge run, speed run, then you're not going to have a good time. The results aren't going to be there. Kick back, relax, and enjoy one of the best games of all time, The Legend of Zelda on the NES. Alright, it's been quite a while actually since I did this run, but it's time to do the voiceover, and we're at just under 2 hours or so. Obviously I gave you guys the tips, the general tips for the run before going in, so I'm going to try my best to not repeat myself too much in regards to those tips. But yeah, so before we get going into any dungeon, I have a bunch of notes, so bear with me if you hear clicking and this and that. Our main goal is going to be basically getting as strong as we possibly can as early as we can. Unfortunately, in this run, I'm unable to get the, I believe it's the blue ring, before the first dungeon. I don't have enough rupees. I think I usually don't buy the potion before I go into the first dungeon. I bought the potion, I believe, in this run. I don't know why. I also didn't get a bomb drop either, which meant I had to buy bombs, so I ended up not having enough rupees for every single thing that I wanted to do before the first dungeon. But our first goal here, aside from getting the sword, clearly, is we're trying to get bombs. So pretty much if you move your way all the way to the eastern side of the map and go up one screen. So basically southeast and then go up one screen. That's where you could get some bombs early on. If you're lucky enough, you will get bomb drops. There is, these guys I think drop bombs. Most blue people do, but I think there's a way to RNG manipulate to get them every time. I'm not smart enough nor I care enough to know how to do that, so I just literally rely on the RNG. And usually I do get bomb drops, but for some reason we didn't get them here. And I also wanted to point out too that obviously this isn't like some kind of groundbreaking no death run by any means. This Zelda 1 is way freaking easier than Zelda 2 as far as no dying. Just sort of something I realized, I don't think I ever beat this game without dying before. This was like I want to say this is my 5th or 6th time playing through Zelda. Probably 6th, because I did a practice run. And I usually die always once, somewhere. So I just kind of wanted to get that monkey off my back, so to speak, and I knew that it wasn't going to be that difficult, so... thankfully, it wasn't. And, there was like a spot or two that got a little hairy, if you will, but otherwise it wasn't too bad. But anyways, now we have the bombs. So our next goal is we're basically going to be backtracking and cutting up through Eastern Hyrule in general. We're going to be getting some heart containers and some rupees. That's basically pretty much all secret stuff. Always grab the heart containers, guys, because ultimately at the end of the day, you want to max out your life. That'll make things easier, not only in a casual run, but obviously if you're trying to do it without dying. You know, the only time I don't recommend getting a lot of this stuff is obviously if you're doing a speed run, but I am not a speedrunner, so... I'm also not an expert at this game by any means. I do not remember where everything is. That's just, you know, kind of how it is. I'm a big notes guy, take a lot of notes for this game. I don't have the best memory, and unless I'm playing a game over and over and over and over, then I won't remember. And it's kind of how I am with Zelda. I remember the general gist of it across the board, but I rely on my notes heavily for sure. You know, it's a game that I don't play that often. The last time I played it before this was, I think it was December of last year, 2021. And, you know, since I had recently beat the Zelda 2 without dying, I figured, we gotta go back and do this, so. So we grabbed our heart container a little while ago. Now we're gonna be on a rupee path for a little while, and then ultimately ending up with another heart container. If you ever see me like kind of veering off course as to what I'm saying, it's simply because I'm grinding for either rupees or bombs or hearts or whatever the case may be. You're gonna see me do that quite often. Like I said, towards the end of the gathering, quote unquote, here before we go into the first dungeon, I'm going to be running out of rupees to buy everything that I need, so you're gonna see me probably veering off. I think I end up trying to go grind for rupees, and then I realize it's pretty much pointless, and I don't really need it. Obviously, for the most part, the first dungeon is designed for you not to be as overpowered as I was, to say the least. But again, if you see me not just skipping across screens, it's because I'm trying to get drops, so. Like there, for example. We got ourselves a rupee drop, and every rupee counts at this point. You know, later on in the run, sure, you know, you end up having more rupees than you know what to do with. But now, that is not the case. So we're gonna go down here, and we're gonna get a secret rupee stash. Again, it would allow me to buy everything that I need, but I'm pretty sure that I do get the potion, probably just being overly cautious. I'm gonna assume that's what my train of thought was there, because I honestly don't remember, and I don't even think in the moment that I was really thinking about it. But I know when the camera's rolling, so to speak, I'm always on the air, or excuse me, I always err on the side of being cautious. So I figured, in case a disaster strikes in the first dungeon or two, I might as well grab the potion. And I believe we do use probably 2 potions in this run. I feel like I used one before Ganon just because, although honestly I could have easily beat him without using it. I remember, I think I used it in order to become more sloppy, just to kind of get it done a little bit quicker. And I'm pretty sure that I legitimately use a potion at some point, either in dungeon 6, 7, or 8. You will also see me occasionally misfire bombs because, again, I know where things are, but I don't know where things are exactly, and that was a case of one there. Could have sworn that the entrance was dead in the middle, but it was not. It was off to the right. And there we grabbed another heart container. So we just got a bunch of rupees, a bunch of hearts, and now we're going to be setting off to get the white sword. Along the way, I believe we're going to be picking up some more rupees, probably the note. We might get the blue candle, possibly, and the white sword. Ultimately, we want swords, so we get our, our strength upgrade. It helps make a lot of the earlier dungeons a lot easier. You know, unless it was a true challenge run, right? What's the point? What's the point of handicapping yourself? So, and there you saw some indecisiveness on my part. It's because I couldn't remember about that. Yes, you climb up rocks. It's one of those cryptic things in Zelda. But 100 rupees? Yeah, I'd say that's worth it, right? Because basically what I saw there was I saw, an entrance, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's not it, right? Because I could have sworn that there was a ladder, but nope. My memory had failed me. I was probably thinking about this ladder. It leads to the note. And we show it to the old woman. Make sure you have that on your person. Yeah, and this run isn't perfect by any means. Again, not a Zelda expert by any stretch of the imagination. Hadn't really done much game planning or grinding prior to this recording. Just kind of winging it. And that's kind of how I do, guys. I'm always playing games all the time. The days of me fixating on one are pretty much over. I think the last time I really did that was Resident Evil 2 original on PC when I was doing my speedruns. I played RE2 pretty much non-stop for about 2 weeks, but other than that, man, I get my runs done and I'm out. So here we have the shield, a key, and the blue candle. Obviously, we don't really need the other two, so let's grab the blue candle and move on. And we're inching ever so close to the white sword. Definitely be careful though. The white sword area could be a little bit tricky. There's a tough enemy patrolling around, so just be wary, and at this point we don't have too many hearts, so. And I'm also not super up to date or in the know, so to speak, regarding all the enemy names in the Zelda games, so I don't even know what the fuck those things are called. I always refer to them as, I don't know, they kind of remind me of, what are they, like, centaurs, in a sense? But I'm sure there's something completely different from a centaur. Okay, so our next goal here, we're going to be grabbing some more rupees. We're also going to be stopping off to get another heart container, and then ultimately, we're going to be grabbing a shield. You have a little bit of traversing to do here. Be careful through the falling boulder area, of course. I feel like I've gotten better at avoiding those over time, but I remember there was definitely a point in time early on in my Zelda playing where those things would hit me all the time, and I think I was focusing too much on dodging rather than moving. So here we are, gonna get some more secret rupees. And I believe the next screen, no, I think it's like 2 more screens south, we're gonna be grabbing some more rupees. Again, killing things when I can, always trying to get as many rupees as possible. And then, in the instance of me needing to unearth a secret or whatever, I'm also going to kill the enemies just to get them out of my way. If you fail with the blue candle, you have to leave the screen in order to use it again, at least to my knowledge. You might be able to unequip and equip an item, I'm not sure, but I always just leave the screen. And fail we do once in a while when it comes to the fire. So we grab some more rupees, and we're about to get another heart container. And I'm actually a little ashamed of myself. That screen I always remember, and for some reason, I don't know if I misfired or I just miscounted, but I was very disappointed in myself there, to say the least. That is one If there's ever a secret heart container spot that I never forget, it's this one, and I forgot it there. I did something. Misclick, misfire, misremembered, who knows? Like Roger Clemens on the stand, right? Misremembering. Alright, so here we're at the end of this leg of the gathering. We're going to take the magical shield. Okay, so now after getting the shield, ultimately we're going to be grabbing a ton of more secret rupee spots. We're also going to be getting the arrows, and I believe at the end of this trip is where I end up getting the medicine, or the potion. And to be honest with you guys, I don't think I should have grabbed it. I'm pretty sure that's sort of what threw me for a tizzy and sent me off in a, you know, a couple minute tangent trying to scramble find some more rupees to buy the ring, which ultimately we end up getting later. Not a big deal either way, but you know, when you kind of have like a set pattern and goal in mind and you don't achieve it, it can kind of throw you off. And a little later on, you'll see that happening. I also want to point out that this is the first time, I think, where I beat Zelda straight through without saving, without turning off the console. What is it, up and A or whatever the hell it is on controller 2 to warp yourself back to the beginning. So you're actually also going to be seeing a couple of instances later on when I leave dungeons where I'm not used to backtracking from the spot that I was at. I'm used to just up and Aing, you know what I mean? So that's going to be a few more points of confusion, probably costing myself, I don't know, roughly somewhere between 5 to 8 minutes of backtracking time that I don't normally do. But here, we grab the arrows, which is the main goal on this leg, aside from, of course, grabbing more rupees. There are tons of rupee spots on the way to the medicine that we eventually go to. And stuff's expensive, man. You need as much rupee, you know, base as you can get here early on, for sure. And unfortunately, not all these secret rupee spots are 100. You know, a lot of them are of the smaller variety. Here we're gonna get some more hidden rupees. And then we're gonna be walking westward a bit, eventually getting some more rupees. Rupees is probably the number one word if the search engines scan this video. If anybody Googles Zelda and rupees, it's probably going to be me popping up, right? As long as the AI is good enough to scan the videos. Can't reach that one, unfortunately. No problem. Continuing on in the Great Rupee Hunt. Clearing the screen of enemies, of course. And some indecisiveness going on. Can't quite remember, am I on the right screen? Was it the next one? And then I'm like, oh yeah, don't you have to blow stuff up with the bombs? I think you do. And whoops! Because I'm such a noob, we end up wasting a bomb there, which does suck. I really don't want to waste the bombs because, again, I don't know how to RNG manip, so the last thing in the world that I want to do is occasionally if you're too bomb crazy and you don't know exactly where to go in the dungeons, you might end up needing to backtrack out of a dungeon to go grab some bombs. Yes, occasionally there are people that sell bombs in the dungeons, but yeah, I try to be as frugal as possible with my bomb usage. I really don't want to use any extra bombs that I don't have to. I do know on this run that occasionally I use some bombs to try to kill enemies for some reason. I don't know why. There's a few enemies that I try to kill with the bombs that it's literally a waste. Barely does anything. And I definitely remember at the time questioning myself, why are you doing that? But here is the snafu. We're gonna end up going in. We have to show the note here. We're gonna end up probably, yeah, I think we get the potion. Yep. And normally I actually don't buy this, because now we're going to be some rupees short, I believe, for the blue ring. But we are going to be continuing on to the path to the blue ring, where there are other rupee, hidden rupees along the way. I think there's 3 more coming up. But the ring is 250 rupees, dude. So, yeah, you're going to see me kind of scrambling. I'm not going to have enough, you know, in my inventory, so to speak, to buy it. And it's a bit of a mistake. It's probably my least favorite part of this run, but ultimately ended up being a successful run, so I wasn't going to redo it. But definitely makes me look even more newbie than I already am. I'll say that. Yeah, we're just making things easier for ourselves here. Don't really want to get pelted with projectiles while we're trying to unearth some more secret rupees. So again, guys, on the rupee path, we are currently, you know, a little under 100 rupees away from being able to afford the ring, but as you could probably expect, we're not even gonna come close. We're not even gonna come close. The nice clock drop there for no reason, after all the enemies are dead. And there we had another blunder with the fire. Again, guys, not an expert, so you know what, honestly, like, this is why I like doing these videos for you guys, because I feel like that if you're not an expert at these games, you could totally do it too, because I can. You know what I mean? I try to lay things out as clearly and as easy as possible, and I want to make the game as easy as possible for you. As of the time of me recording this, I'm debating if I'm gonna do a no-death run of Friday the 13th. I'm pretty, like, good with it right now as far as, like, the mechanics and knowing where things are, but I'm having trouble tracking down Jason. And Jason seems to be killing my counselors, which technically, in a way, kind of ruins the no-death run. Unless I do like a 1 counselor run, of course. But anyways, I digress. This has nothing to do with Friday the 13th, I'm sorry. So here, pretty sure, yeah, we're just not gonna have enough rupees. It's a bummer. But the part that, again, bothers me is that I freaked out because I didn't get something. It's because I didn't go according to plan, right? At the end of the day, it's like, dude, it's the first dungeon. I should have just chilled. Anyway. As you can see, 250. We are nowhere close. At this point, I'm like, oops, what are we gonna do? So we're gonna dick around for a little bit before going into the first dungeon, which was the one on the water that we passed by earlier. It had a pretty clear like ladder or path leading to it. This dungeon is referred to as the Eagle, by the way. But basically now you're just gonna see me wandering around, trying way too hard to get rupees. Obviously, rupees aren't dropped all the time. And if they are, most of the time it's just 1, not 5. And even if it were 5, eventually when I end up stopping, it's because I do the math and I'm like, my god, I'll probably be out here for like a half hour. Is it really worth it? And that answer is no. But like I said, guys, typically, since it is early in the game, I grabbed the potion. You guys probably don't need to. I would recommend actually not grabbing it, to be honest with you. Just go grab the ring. In the long run of the early game, the ring is more important. You really shouldn't need potions until mid/end game where things start ramping up quite a bit. I believe the enemies that have the most trouble with referring back to my Zelda 2 knowledge, I think they're Iron Knuckles, right? The guys that look like knights. Because I believe that the Zelda enemies, for the most part, span across all the games. The Iron Knuckles and the Wizrobes are definitely the hardest enemies in the game, like, by far. The Iron Knuckles, because they're harder to hit. The Wizrobes, because sometimes they just go crazy, and if there's a room of a lot of them, and then especially those rooms with the paralysis enemies, things can get very difficult. But as you can see there, I popped back in, couldn't remember how much the goods were. We were still 50 rupees short, so at this point I'm sincerely hoping that I give up the ghost, so to speak, and just just move on. The quote-unquote gathering itself typically takes about around 20 minutes or so. It's one of the longer sections of the game, actually, aside from, you know, later dungeons. But for reference, we have about an hour and 30-ish minutes left in the run, and we haven't done any of the dungeons yet. There's the eagle, the moon, the Manji, the snake, the lizard, the dragon, the demon, the lion, and of course, Death Mountain. Still to go. One thing that I will point out as I continuously do my dumb rupee farming here, really wasting fucking time, have no idea what I'm doing at this point, is I'm hoping this is where it clicks, by the way. Where I go, maybe I shouldn't do this shit anymore. But you'll notice when I go through the dungeons that we're basically just beelining to get the item and to get out. We are not trying to actively get the you know, the compasses and the maps and all that kind of stuff. And I know that I actually end up skipping the, I think it's the magical key. Is that what they refer to it as in Zelda? It's kind of like the master key where you could just infinitely unlock stuff. I actually end up skipping it, and I'll be honest with you, I completely forgot about it, but it didn't matter anyway because I had so many freaking keys that it was completely irrelevant. But yeah, I remember forgetting it on this run, and I was surprised because typically I will always grab every item. So it caught me off guard a little bit. But anyway, it looks like I finally came to my senses, and we're going to be making our way to the first dungeon now, finally. Yikes. And as I stated, it was right here. You walk to the left over this bridge. I'm getting ping-ponged around a little bit here, so I think I'm killing these enemies to try to get some heart drops. Of course, I don't get them again. Doesn't matter too much. We're super early in the game. This dungeon won't be a pain whatsoever. So yes, this dungeon's referred to as the Eagle. It's in the shape of an eagle-like creature. And since it's early on, we don't have any keys, we are going to be key farming, if you will, which sometimes are obviously in the room, sometimes they're hidden after killing enemies, in the case of this one. Dungeon will be super quick, not too many shenanigans in the early ones. Over here, we're going to kill some skellies to get another key. Hearts too, you know? That helps. Alright, now we can continue on through the first locked door here, picking up 2 quick keys early in the dungeon. And I guess I'll just let you guys know where certain things are if I'm passing by. Again, you gotta bear with me. Last time I did this run like literally over a month ago, so I can't remember everything that I do, but if you go into, well, maybe I do grab it. Yep, there is the compass piece here. I probably grab the ones that are like super easy, just in case I get lost, but the ones that like you really have to go out of your way, I know that I skip those later on. Not quite sure what I'm doing there. Guess, yeah, I might actually... do I just beeline it right to the boss? Nah, I definitely pick up the items. I have to pick up the items. It's not until later on, where some of them are kind of optional. We grabbed the boomerang here. Technically, you could just go to the right and go up and go fight the boss, but again, each dungeon has a special item. There we grabbed the map. Again, wasn't trying to get it, but it was literally in my way as I was walking, so why not? Got another key skelly here. We'll go ahead and grab that, of course. And I believe there's another key in this room too, right? Can never have enough keys. Yep. But we did skip a section where one of the old wise men give you a hint. I'm pretty sure we don't go there. So we're gonna grab the first item in this dungeon. Well, the only item really in this dungeon other than the boomerang, I guess. And it is the bow. So now we can start shooting arrows if we want. I feel like we don't really utilize the arrows too much in this game aside from, of course, the silver arrow with Ganon. And now, I believe, we continue to push on towards the boss, what is it? I guess it's called the Aqua Mentis, but it's like a green dragon. Don't quote me on that. Really not up to date on my Zelda lore by any stretch of the imagination. So pushing on here, luckily we get another key. Watch out for the wall, I think they're called wall masters, right? They grab you and pull you out to the started dungeons and shit. Pretty easy boss, just gonna whack away here at the head. Obviously, we're pretty overpowered for the first dungeon, so it is even easier than it normally is. And there we grabbed another heart container, obviously. And the first piece of the Triforce. Would you look at that? And now, we're gonna be moving on to Dungeon 2, aka the Moon. Again, bear in mind that this is the first time that I didn't save, didn't stop, and didn't do up and A or whatever the hell the combo is on button control, or on, excuse me, on controller 2. So I'm kind of rerouting myself on the fly. I'm so used to just starting fresh from the initial spot. So it takes me a minute here and there to figure out where I am. And I'm pretty sure, since I'm so close to 250, that I'm going to grab as many rupees as I need to get the ring. It's possible that I don't get it before this dungeon, but I feel like since I'm like right there and I still have a potion in my inventory, that I am probably going to do that. Yes, if I'm not moving to the east, then it's pretty clear. Yeah, I'm doing a little bit of rupee grinding. Shouldn't be too bad, clearly. Especially if we get a 5-er at some point. I tell you what though, when you're desperate for rupees, I feel like they never drop. I remember, it might have been my run actually that was on YouTube from last year in like late December, early January, I can't remember when it was. Well, if it was early January, it'd be this year, but I remember I needed rupees at one point later in the run, and I'm telling you, it just felt like forever. I might have cut it out actually. I think it was towards the end of the game. It might have been before Death Mountain or during Death Mountain, but I feel like I needed rupees for something. Probably bombs. And I remember the grind took a lot longer than I had ever hoped. But yeah, we just need 2 rupees now, and we're like right there. Oh, one more. There we go. Perfect. Alright, let's go grab the ring that we failed to get for the first dungeon. Again, guys, there are so many spots that you can get potions, and potions are way cheaper. So in my opinion, don't even bother grabbing the potion. I would go with the ring first. And there you go. Alright, now we could finally get to Dungeon 2. Look at that, we got a beautiful wardrobe upgrade as well. Who doesn't like that? And just to let you guys know, my commentary is probably going to be segmented. For example, I have to start work pretty soon, so I'll probably stop my commentary after the second dungeon. I'll have to make some good timestamp notes so there's not any weird editing problems that I run into. But anyways, we're going to continue on now, as we normally would, over to Dungeon 2, which is on the eastern side of Hyrule. It's kind of in the bushy, wooded area. You gotta take some... it's really not hard to get there or anything, but you gotta take some weird semi-looping paths, which you will see eventually. Obviously, since we just spent 250 rupees on the ring, I will, you know, if things are in my way, I will gladly kill them to replenish my rupees a bit. Does anybody else feel like every time you get the stopwatch time freeze drops, they're always like when there's like no enemies or one enemy left? I'm telling you. Anyway, as I was talking about the looping, this is what I was referring to, kind of walking around these bushes or trees. Got the unnecessary bomb drop there, but it's fine. So I guess while I continue to dick around and farm, we'll talk a little bit about Dungeon 2. Again, referred to as the moon. It's in the shape of like a crescent moon. Obviously there's keys littered throughout. I know that there's like some rooms that have bombs and rupees when you clear all the enemies. But the main goal, aside from obviously beating Dodongo and getting another heart container in Triforce, is I believe there's the is it the magical boomerang here? I will look through my notes. Yes, there is a magical boomerang. Is that the... Huh. Anyway. Alright. Yeah, so these snake enemies, they're pretty easy. They pretty much like track you, but they're really not that treacherous or dreadful by any stretch of the imagination. Especially when they're wandering aimlessly or they're coming from across the entire room. Nothing really crazy to speak of there. So, we went all the way over here to pick up another key. As I said, the one thing that I don't want to ever do, I end up grabbing too many keys throughout this run, but the last thing that I ever wanted to do was run out of keys. And like I said, I ended up not getting the magical key, so in a way, I kind of needed them. So, if they were not too far off course, I would certainly grab them. The room to the right there had the compass, and the room to the right here, I believe, has the map. But again, we don't need it. This room should also have a key, I think, when we clear out the snakes. Yep. So there you saw me deep in thought. This is also another key room. And since I am at full health, this is pretty easy. Just sit back and shoot your shit. I thought it was a key room. Did I get the key? Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? So you might be thinking to yourself, why are there bombs here? Well, that's exactly why. There's actually 2 holes that you could blow up. I chose the north one. And there should be a freaking... I was gonna say, there should be a rupee here. So I make the decision here to not waste a key, because if you use one bomb, you could bomb your way through the left. The hint here is the Dodongo dislikes smoke, which is kind of cryptic. Basically, you always want Dodongo to eat your bombs. That's how you kill him. I might just clear this screen of the enemies, hoping for rupee drops. Well, I mean, I guess I have to anyway, but... Oh, there was a bomb drop in here. Interesting. And here's the Dongo. So basically you just have to feed him bombs. I think it takes 3. It's actually really easy. You just go anywhere. Oh, it only takes 2. For some reason I thought it took 3. Huh. Maybe the later ones take 3? Because the Dongo is kind of a recurring enemy in this game. But either way, easy peasy. Probably the easiest, actually, honestly, this dungeon's easier than the other one. Even number 1. It's like such a straight shot, in my opinion. They're both easy, but... Alright. So, I do have a few more minutes. We're not going to be able to get through the next dungeon, which I refer to as the Manji. It is in the shape of what some people think to be a swastika, but it is obviously not a swastika. Excuse me, I just bumped into my desk. It is the, what is it, the International Sign of Peace or some shit like that, where it's like the opposite way, what it's originally intended to be. In there we have the Manhandla boss, and there's the raft as well. And I hope it's not, I don't think it's in this run, but I think it might have been in my practice run. I'm pretty sure I forgot to grab the raft for some reason, being an idiot. But what we'll do is we'll get to the spot where the dungeon is, and then I'm gonna have to stop the commentary because I gotta start working. So again, working my way backwards, I usually reset and start at the opening spot where the dungeon is pretty close by. Again, there is a potion salesman on the way to the dungeon. There usually always is. So if you're struggling for health and you have the rupees, never fear. But we're gonna cut our way over here. I always find that this eastern side of the map is a good way for me to get my bearings back about me, because once I'm over here, I kind of remember most stuff. From here, if you wanted to, you could basically go left all the way to the starting area, and then we're only a few screens away from Dungeon 3. Get some good rupee drops there on the way, that's pretty cool. Again, killing enemies in my way, because why not? You never know. Again, being very generous with the rupee drops. Happy with that, of course. We're actually almost at 100, which is pretty good. Gotta keep that supply going in case you need potions later, you know what I mean? If you scrub it up, you want to keep yourself alive, so... Alright, so now when we cut over this bridge, we're going to be passing by a screen where you could buy a potion if you want. Obviously, we still have it in our inventory, so we're not going to do that. And then you move one more screen to the left, south, and then east, and you are at the precipice of the third dungeon. At full health here, we'd like to keep that going into the dungeon, clearly. And now if we go one more screen east, we'll be at the third dungeon. Alright, heading into the dungeon here. I don't know why I'm so careful not to get hit there for some reason. But, well, let me make my notes a little bigger. I've changed my setup since the first voiceover session, so... Entering in here... there's only one way to go to start. Cleared out the enemies there. I believe if you clear out the enemies here as well, that you get another key, which we will again gladly take because you never know. And I feel like, in a way, this is kind of the first dungeon that sort of branches off a little bit. I feel like the first two are very straightforward. Not to say that this one isn't straightforward, but I feel like the windy paths and stuff, so to speak, they get a little bit... They start here. I'll leave it at that. So you could probably assume, right, the bomb drop usually means that there is a door in this room or very nearby to explode open. And yes, I believe these are iron knuckles, correct? Because they're the same colors. There's the orange and red ones and the blue ones, and those are the same enemies from Zelda 2. But, yeah, these are my least favorite enemies in the game. I never really got good at them. To my knowledge, you can only hit them from the side and the back. They move in weird patterns. I've never been good at them. I actually hate them more than the whiz robes, to be honest with you. Now we have the introduction of those, again, same enemies from Zelda 2. I think they're all, like, all these enemies are in Zelda 2. The ones that they momentarily paralyze you in this game. The door above actually led to the boss, but pretty clearly we're not ready to go there yet because we did not get the item of the dungeon, which again I believe is the raft. So now we're going to be on a journey for said raft. Once again, we're not going out of our way to grab compass and maps, unless, you know, if it's right in our grill, of course we'll grab it, but we're not going to go out of our way to get any of that stuff. Have to clear the room here of everybody's favorite enemies, my favorite enemies. You know, it's funny, I remember when I beat Zelda 2, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do any long no death runs anymore. Just because, honestly, the voiceovers are a little laboring, and I feel like when you're talking about like a platformer game, even if the platformer is like 30, 40, 50 minutes even, I feel like it's more intensive because there are so many tips and tricks to talk about, where a lot of times, I feel like, especially for this run, most of the stuff is really straightforward. It's all about game planning and knowing where you're going. Like, for example, I knew that I had to go to the left side of this dungeon to go get the raft, and now pretty much I'm just going to be on a beeline to the boss. Where in a platformer, it's like, okay, here, make sure you do this, and, you know, take a little bit of pressure off of the jump button, or this, that, and the other. Zelda's really straightforward, man. You know, I gave you a little hint on how to deal with the iron knuckles. Beyond that, it's like, I don't know. There are some hints, though, for some enemies and some bosses that we will get to coming up that are pretty useful, aside from just general routing, of course. I guess my question is there are... I just grabbed that key. Yeah, I think there's another key towards the top of the dungeon. Do I end up grabbing it? I don't... Yeah, this was a mistake, I'm pretty sure. There is another key nearby, but, like, I didn't really need it. I think I got lost. Yeah. I think I might have thought that there was something up here that there shouldn't have been. It's pretty much just another old guy giving you more sage wisdom. Did you get the sword from the man on the top of the waterfall? And then over in this other room you could pick up another key, but again, you don't really need it because we just wasted a key getting in here in the first place. And then you also lock yourself in this room where you have to kill all the bats in order to get out. So yeah, that was another one of my few blunders that I had during this run for sure. Rest in peace, the world record speedrun, right? So now, after my veer off course for absolutely no reason, we're going to focus our attention on getting over to the boss, aka the Manhandler. So it's always one of the funniest names to me in the Zelda universe, the Manhandler. Gotta love it. So we should be able to bomb through this wall. Again, as I said, if the map is in my grill, I'll pick it up, which I did. But otherwise, should be able to bomb through here to get to the boss. Now, you can kill this boss really easily with bombs. Well-placed bombs make short work of this guy. And there we did. We got it. Perfect. And I think I kill a manhandle later on. Later? Got the manhandle on the mind with the A at the end. I kill a boss later, or one of those later on, but I kind of fuck up the bomb. I don't do it quite as well as I did there, where we got it in one shot. But anyway, that's the third dungeon is now down. And we're actually going to be taking a little bit of a side course. Since we did get the raft, we are now able to go pick up another heart container on the way to the next dungeon, which, just for future reference, is referenced as the snake. It's kind of shaped like a, I don't know, I guess it'd be like a snake, like a cobra or something standing up. Something with one of the, you know, the big flaps around its head. We will be fighting a boss there called Gleeok, I believe is the name. It's a double-headed dragon, right? But aside from that, we will also be getting the step ladder, which is very important. But first, we need to go get this heart container since we suck ass at this game. And we need to be able to endure as many hits as we possibly can. So that's what we're doing. Working our way over. Again, my reference point is always like this beach area. I find it to be very, kind of like, it rights the ship for me mentally, I'll say that. And then all we really do actually is we just go straight north, and then we'll be able to use our raft to go get the heart container. On the way up, you will also see, I believe, a heart container out in the ocean, right? Yeah, but we need the, I believe we need the step ladder for that, if I remember correctly. So we will be coming back to get that, of course, in the near future. Here we are, we're at the dock, and now we could ride our new raft over to this secret area where we're going to be able to grab another heart container, because why would you grab a potion, you fool? And now we're going to be doing the long journey over to the dungeon. We got a ways to go here, nothing really special. Of course, if we get hit along the way, we'll kill some enemies to try to find hearts. If they're in our way completely, we could always use extra rupees. That's probably what I'm doing here. And it's not directly on the way over to the next dungeon, but if you are short again with your potion, the potion area is, let's see, 1, 2, 3 blocks away from the dungeon. If you're at the entrance of the next dungeon, you would go south, south, and then west. And that brings you back to the potion salesman area. But again, as far as this run goes, we have not used our potion yet. So, no need. But if we did, we have plenty of rupees, thankfully, so. Alright, we're getting a little bit closer now. We're about halfway to the dungeon from where we grabbed the last heart container. Again, trying to be careful here. We don't want to get hurt before we go into the dungeon. Dungeons are always easier. As soon as I say that, I get hit by an enemy, but dungeons are always easier when you have the full health, so you could shoot your sword projectile attack. And as we approach the water, that means we're approaching the next dungeon. The first dungeon was up, if you remember correctly, and now this next one, I believe you have to take the raft. Yep. There's the dock. Just set sail. And now we are in the next dungeon, the snake, on the hunt for the stepladder and Gleeok. So when we first enter, we're kind of getting to the point now where we have a zillion keys, but we're still pretty early into the game, so we are gonna clear this room of enemies in order to grab another key. Some epic Zelda skills going on right now as I can't hit these hit the bats to save my life. And I believe that when we go north here, if you go east or right, there is a compass, but don't really feel the need to get it. Those enemies, if you shoot them the way that I shoot them, they spawn out these red bats, which it's kind of annoying. I mean, it's not like these enemies are hard at all, but it just kind of delays the inevitable, so to speak. But yes, we are going to pass on that one room because we don't need the compass. We know where we're going. And it is a waste of a key. And now we have the introduction of the dark rooms, and the way to make them bright is to use a fire of some sort, whether it be the candle, and I believe later on the, I think the magic staff lights up the room if I remember correctly. Either way, people that are really good at this game, they don't even need to light up the rooms whatsoever, but I always prefer to, because I don't know the game like the back of my hand. The last thing I want to do is get caught up on some bullshit, so I will always just do it for the sake of making things easier for myself. There we go, grabbing another key. We're actually almost at 200 rupees as well, which is good. Always good, again, to have as many as possible, because you never know how bad you're going to be at the game. What kind of RNG are you going to get, you know? So the step ladder will allow you to go over, like, that water, for example, but we don't have it yet, so we can't cut up through that way. There is another manhandler in this dungeon. I don't remember if I fight it or not. I probably don't. But, you know, famous last words, right? So we're going to clear this room of the enemies in order to get over to the right, where I believe that is going to be the trigger room in order to go get the step ladder. And yes, it is. So same thing here. We're going to clear this room of the enemies. Also, I can't remember, but I feel like these enemies that I'm killing right now, I think they eat your shield, if I remember correctly. Because I think they ate my shield in the run that I had that was like a casual run back in last year that I keep referencing. Anyways, we get the step ladder here. So this will allow us to go across water, and this will also allow us to go get that other heart container after this dungeon, which is great. And let's see, do I make the wrong move here? I hope I don't. I hope I'm not that foolish, but I do not need to go north into the next room. And do I do it? Oh my god, I do it. As you can see, there's nothing here that I need. Wasted a key. But again, guys, this is what happens, you know? You, once in a while, you just make the wrong move. Thankfully, it's not like it cost me or anything. So this next room is going to be a manhandler. You do not need to kill it though. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was one room off. So north is going to be a manhandler. Here we go. But you don't need to kill it. All you have to do is blow up the hole in the wall to the right here. And that's what I'm going to do. Because even though I got that really good attack on the actual boss version, you know, I still am not that confident in my abilities to fight it. Here you could actually blow up any direction you want, but since we have the step ladder, we don't really need to do anything other than get to the boss. However, like I said, I will always grab as many keys that I can get, within reason, of course. And now, this way I don't need to use any more bombs. We should be able to just walk our way to the boss, Gliok. We're gonna go south and then to the east, and we'll be in the boss room where we fight the boss, get another heart container, go north, and grab another piece of the Triforce. Obviously, have to clear the room of enemies here in order to unlock the door. You can blow up the wall to the left, which will lead you back to the dark rupee room that we were in earlier. Move that, and here we are. It's boss time, baby. So general strat here, I don't really have one. I just kind of go to the side and I whack away. We have plenty of upgrades, plenty of hearts. Not really concerned. There's probably an easier way to beat this boss, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't beat that boss with the stage that we're at right now, in terms of like our abilities and our equipment, then you have some bigger problems on your hand. I'll say that. All right, so now. The cool part is technically, this is the last gathering of equipment that we will need. We're going to be going back to grab that heart container that we saw earlier. We will also be getting the power bracelet and the magical sword from the graveyard. And then eventually making our way to the 5th dungeon, aka the Lizard, where we will get, obviously, another heart container and another piece of the Triforce, clearly. The boss there is Dig Dogger. We also see the introduction of Pole's Voice, which is an interesting enemy. The Famicom version, if you speak or yell into the microphone on the one controller, you could actually kill the Pole's Voice, which is actually pretty useful because a lot of the Pole's Voice enemies, I mean, not a lot of them, all of them, have a decent amount of health. They take quite a bit of hits, and they move very weirdly. So I feel like that was a pretty cool gimmick. But obviously on the regular Nintendo version, that does not exist. So anyway, continuing on here with the Gathering. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that the item that we're going to be getting in this dungeon is the whistle, by the way. So. Anyway, working our way back to the shore here. Where now, since we have the stepladder, we could just simply put it across those wooden planks to go get this heart container. And then we do the long journey to the west to get the power bracelet and the magical sword from the graveyard. But like I said, the good thing is this is technically the last part of overworld upgrading, really. Aside from, you know, whether or not you need to farm for stuff or go buy things. Like you maybe need more bombs, maybe need more potions, whatever. But as far as like alternate routing, so to speak, this is it. And I would say that, I don't know. I would say honestly the last like 3 dungeons is where the difficulty spikes. Because yeah, you get, you have Pole's voice and stuff in here, but until you start getting Wizrobes, when the Wizrobes start appearing, that's when the dungeons can start getting really tricky. To where the potions, specifically obviously the red ones, because those are 2 uses, as opposed to the other one, which I believe is blue, which is only 1 use, they will be your best friend, as there are many places to buy them. And if you scrub it up, go on ahead and buy them, especially now because you should have plenty of rupees. Just like in general on your travels, you'll be able to acquire a massive amount of them. Alright, now we're finally approaching the general area for the power bracelet. Should be on this screen, right? There it is. And now, we're gonna go ahead to get the magical sword from the graveyard. Now, I feel like this is one of the cooler areas of the game. Unfortunately, there's really not a lot to do in the graveyard. I feel like it's kind of underutilized. It would have been cooler if, I mean, I guess if you play the game, you know, for the first time or whatever, it's very easy to just kind of dick around and not really know what you're doing. But in general, you really don't spend that much time in here when you know what you're doing. You're kind of just on a beeline to get to the sword, and that's that. And there we are. Master using it, and you can have this. I always love the derp face that Link does when he picks up the items. His eyes get all fucking weird and shit. Very odd. Alright. So now, we are done with the gathering, if you will. And it is time to head to the dungeon. You can see some indecisiveness, because I can't quite remember where to go. But there is a kind of a warp section here, as you can see. And I believe I'd probably do a double take here, because I don't want to make the wrong choice. But it is indeed the one to the right. I think we end up running into that warp again later. And it might be because I didn't do the save and quit reset back to the beginning to kind of get myself back on a path somewhere, but clearly, as you can see, we are making a few wrong turns here and there, but it's not the end of the world. You know, lately I've been thinking, what Zelda is my favorite? Yeah, I haven't played that many of them. I've only played this Zelda 2 in A Link to the Past. And it's surprising because my favorite system of all time is SNES, and A Link to the Past is a great game, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know what my favorite Zelda is. Sometimes I think it's this one. Lately I've been really feeling Zelda 2, but I think like if you made me choose, I'd probably go Zelda 1. It's just like, it's a perfect 8-bit game. I don't even know how to describe it other than that. But there, as you saw, guys, you just continue to go north over those ladders, and then you end up in the dungeon, aka the lizard. Let's get cracking here. These are the Pulse voice enemies that I was referring to earlier. There is a key here. You could also blow up the northern wall to get another hint from an old man. We just came here to get the keys. As you can see, the Pulse voices are pretty tough, man, because we are well equipped right now, and they don't go down easily. Continuing back to the entrance here. So I believe to get the item, you pretty much just go to the left to kind of start. Of course, we're gonna grab ourselves the keys. Look at me being ballsy here in this room. I'm not even using the candle. Wow. Not like there's really anything perilous. There's a water area, red. I don't know, is that supposed to be lava or blood or something? I have no idea. Either way, we blow through the wall here. Killing all these enemies. You'll get a bomb drop and the door will open to the north. But we want to go to the left, so we have to bomb through this wall as well. There's going to be a switch in here. Or not? I don't remember. Anyway. Alright, so now we got some more blue iron knuckles, my favorites. I told you guys I hate these enemies. Some people are really good at them. I'm just not. They remind me of Tower of Druaga, by the way, on the Famicom. I did a review of that sometime last year, if you guys want to check that out. I did not do a playthrough though. That was one that I was slogging myself offline. That's a tough game. It's kind of tough in general, but unless you know exactly what to do in that game is brutal. But I do know that Tower of Druaga and Zelda are kind of attached at the hip. They're very similar. Obviously, Tower of Druaga is an arcade-style game where you just can't go up a bunch of levels and stuff, but so much cryptic stuff, even more cryptic than Zelda. My god. And there we go. Okay, yeah, so it was a little warp. That's right, I remember now. So we're actually like in the northern part of the map, and I definitely get a little bit confused here, clearly. But this room, when you clear the enemies, you can move that block in the middle, and there should be a stairwell down. And that's what I was referring to earlier in the commentary, that I place some bombs for some reason against the Iron Knuckles. They're too tough, like this shit doesn't even bother them. It's honestly a waste. This isn't the last time that I waste bombs for no reason. And here you can see, clearly I'm struggling once again. I'm actually struggling quite mightily here. I'm just not really confident in fighting them, I don't know. Anyway, thankfully we got a hard drop there, which also helps. Move the block, head down the stairs, and we can get the flute, which means after we get the flute, we could put ourselves on a beeline to the boss. A little easier said than done. It's a little warpy, a little weird to get there, but we will be fighting Dig Dogger eventually. It's kind of like a spin blade, saw blade looking creature, if you will. That's what it looks like on the sprite, but I guess the artwork, I'm taking a look at it right now, it's basically just this big giant eye with like weird tentacly things, but yeah, in the game it looks like a saw blade or something. But this is another enemy that you could really F up with the bombs. Ultimately you need to blow the whistle to defeat him, but if you do like a well-placed bomb plus the whistle, you can kind of like one-shot him like the Manhandla from earlier. Anyway, we worked our way back up through that warp. And now we are just on a beeline to the boss, as I stated. So I'm wondering, actually, the room that didn't open up there, it's a key room, and I'm assuming maybe if you beat the enemies in that room, or you just walk down, maybe you can go through that door. I feel like you have to be able to go through that door. I just can't remember how. It's not necessary, though, to beat the dungeon, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Here's a Dodongo room, and you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to fight them, because there's literally no point. You know, you got to feed them the bombs and stuff. It's just a waste of resources, so. Continuing on through here, there should be a key if you defeat all of these guys. We are kind of getting to the point, like I said, where keys are like flowing like water because we're not using them all in each of the dungeons. We have 10 of them right now, which is crazy to think. Had a little indecisiveness there, but ultimately I believe we just have to go north through here, and then I think we can cut west all the way to the boss, if I remember correctly. Having a great time with the Iron Knuckles, so great that I end up resetting the room. I should probably use the candle and stop being a hero. I knew what my goal was just to get through, but for some reason, I don't know, I made things way more difficult, and then I used the candle in here, go figure, but top tier gameplay, guys. Top tier. Anyways, now we're gonna cut over to the west like I had stated. There is a key in here too, I believe, if you kill all the enemies. Do I choose to do so? I probably do. Because if there is one thing that I end up doing too much of, like I mentioned, it's grabbing keys, but I find it to be too addictive. And do I do the same here with the Pulse voices for some reason? I don't know if they drop anything in particular other than like rupees and shit, but I might just clear them even though I don't have to. Clearly all I have to do is walk to the left and use my key. Yeah, I guess I just fight them for some reason. Maybe I'm just trying to level up IRL here, get better at them. Which honestly, I feel like I did do a better job of killing the Pulse voices in this run as compared to other playthroughs. Alright, boss time, guys. So again, a well-placed bomb, and the flute does it, but we'll see what I do. I think I just opt for the flute and then I just go ham. You're gonna have these statues shooting at you as well, which is a little annoying, so keep your head on a swivel. Oh, I do try the bomb. Yeah, it didn't really work very well, but honestly, still got it done pretty quick. The bomb actually did probably help a little bit there, because I think I only hit him twice, if I remember correctly. And there we are. Another heart container. Another Triforce down. We're done with the gathering. We're on to the dungeon dubbed the Dragon, aka Dungeon 6. There's really nothing that I need to do right now, other than get to the dungeon. I might get a little lost though, because this is one of those dungeons where it's really just easier to move, especially because the dungeon's literally like, well, I shouldn't say the dungeon. The warp to the dungeon is right by the starting point of the game, and I think pretty clearly here I was getting kind of turned around. I wanted to make it a point to not do any resetting and do the game straight through this time. So that's why we're doing what we're doing, as opposed to the warp back to the starting area on controller 2. So I guess while I'm floundering my way to the dungeon, we're going to end up taking the warp by the starting point. And then, ooh, that's right, yes, this is the dungeon, guys. This dungeon's dubbed the Dragon. I guess it's kind of shaped like a Shenlong, sort of, you know, Dragon Ball Z type of dragon, but anyway. I always remember this one because it's it's like gold colored, sort of coppery yellow, and that always lets me know mentally that it's time for the Wiz Robes. Yes, the Wiz Robe introduction will be in this dungeon, so things start getting a little bit tougher. Here's the warp area that I was referring to. Looked like it took the guy a long time to load in there, I don't know why. Maybe there's too many sprites on the previous screen. Either way, this will put us pretty close to where the dungeon entrance is, which is back to the northern area. And the boss here is Goma. And I believe we get the magical wand here, which is actually a pretty useful item. Yeah, we do get the magical wand here. But yeah, Goma is like a big, sort of, it's actually similar to the last boss with the eye. But it's sort of like a spider creature. Crab-like, in a way. I think it only has 6 legs, so it can't be a spider, but anyway. Easy way to defeat this boss is you shoot the boss in the eye with the arrow. But I digress. Let's continue on here. As you can see, our pals in orange, the Wizrobes, making a very early appearance in this dungeon. Grabbing keys. To the north there was another hint, which we clearly don't need. So, the orange Wizrobes are static, and they just kind of appear in. Also, again, straight Tower of Druaga type of stuff. There's very similar... all the enemies in these games are actually like almost the same. I do encourage you guys, if you've never heard of Tower of Druaga, to look up my review and then maybe watch a playthrough or something after this. I don't think I'm ever going to replay that game again, but if you like Zelda, you might find some definite interest in the Tower of Druaga. I'll just leave it at that. Pretty straightforward early on, but now we see the introduction of the blue Wizrobes, and what they do is they teleport. I find them to be definitely more annoying than the orange ones, and you know, it just always seems to be they're just in these rooms with the enemies that prevent you from attacking if you get touched by them. And then of course we got some muncher guys here. Not the greatest room, and this is a precursor of things to come. The banes of our existence. Honestly, the toughest enemy in the game for me, I don't know the name of it, it's that weird flying thing that appears in the later dungeons. It has like a bunch of like tiny flies floating around it, and then it's kind of like an eye. I've been killed by those enemies numerous times in the past, but these guys are definitely I don't know. I find the iron knuckles to be more annoying. But they're up there for sure. In my opinion, those are the three toughest enemies in Zelda by far. You know, the eye fly thing from the later dungeons, the Wizrobes, and the Iron Knuckles. So anyways, we burst our way through the wall here. As you can see, there's another key. Might as well grab it while we're here. Getting a little sloppy. That is a very, very nicely timed, no pun intended, stopwatch to help us. But yeah, I remember this dungeon could be a little bit tricky to navigate if you don't know exactly where you're going, and I think we had another instance there of me not knowing exactly where to go. But we are heading into this room to clear out the enemies, because the room to the right of us should have a warp stair. It either leads us to another part of the dungeon, I can't remember off the top of my head, or it leads us to the item itself. We shall see. Oof, yep. So as I did state that once the Wizrobes came in, things got a little bit harder, so we ended up using one of our potions. As I stated earlier, the red potion full heals you twice, so we do still have another potion, thank goodness. We shouldn't need it. I remember being a little disappointed, I remember this now, because typically I don't have to use a potion until like the next dungeon, but not the end of the world. We have plenty of rupees, clearly, and you know, lots of potion stops along the way. So just gotta shore up our skills a little bit here, right? Got a little sloppy. In a way, we deserved what we got, I'll say that. Clearing the room here, just because. Heading south, and I believe that if you clear the enemies in here, there should also be a key, which again, we're getting to the point where it's like, wow, we have a lot of fucking keys. Not like super duper necessary. Did I not grab the wand? Because we're actually close to the boss. And we got ourselves stuck in a crappy Wizrobe room. Yeah, I think this is where I started doing some wrong turns in this dungeon. Making things way harder on myself. You know, I remember this now. I remember thinking to myself, shit, like I'm getting fucked up. I'm like making wrong turns everywhere. I actually thought the run was gonna come to an end soon because I was just getting really flustered and turned around. And that's what I say, guys, that if you're not an expert at this game, take really, really good notes, because it is very, very fucking easy to get turned around. I quickly realized that I was not going the right way, because the boss room was actually north of that Wizrobe room that we were just in. And I realized, shit man, I didn't go grab the wand. So now we are backtracking to go grab the wand, and eventually we will be returning to that general area to kill the boss. Tricky stuff, man, tricky stuff. But anyway, we start getting our bearings and our feet underneath us, right? Man, we are getting demolished. Do I use both of my potions in here? I might. I do vaguely remember now that I had like a lot of trouble in here for some reason. This is, in my opinion, the first like major difficulty spike dungeon. I will say that. Like, it's not like it's, you know, completely outlandish to struggle here by any means. But, yeah, I got turned around a lot in here, man. I really did. But anyways, thankfully I believe we righted the ship, and once I kill all these freaking I think I do use my potion again. That's nuts. Unless we get like a fairy drop or something, which is possible. But this room should bring us to our wand. Yeah, I end up using... Wow, I used 2 potions in here, dude. That's crazy. Again, not a huge deal. It just, you know... This is what I'm talking about. If you're not that good at the game, man, make sure you always got the potions, because look what happened. Very quickly, the tides can turn. Thankfully, we have max rupees, which means we could just go buy another potion after this dungeon, not a huge deal. And now we're gonna go grab the wand. And then we pretty much just backtrack to where we were. Like I said, we were 1 door away from the boss, which is very easy, by the way. The dungeon itself is way harder than the boss in this instance. Seems to be the case most of the time, if we're being honest, but... I wouldn't say there's any really truly challenging bosses in this game. Zelda 2 definitely has some tougher bosses, for sure. Like, if you don't know the cheese with Dark Link, Thunderbird can be tough, and there's a couple other... The one that we got, I can't remember the name of them. The one that we got here in America, but it's not in the Japanese version. Where you kind of hit him in his gut. Those are some tough bosses for sure. A lot of the bosses in this game, for the most part, have a very crippling gimmick, or you could just mash your way through. Alright, anyways, we're back. We did our little warp there. We just gotta cut down, go to the left, and then go up through here, which should just be a locked door, correct? Yes. And we will go fight the boss, which, its Achilles heel is shooting it in the eye with the arrow. Boom. Just like that. Got another heart container, got another piece of the Triforce, and now it's on to Dungeon 7, aka the Demon. However, we do have a couple things we need to do, thankfully. I don't remember if it's exactly where I buy it from. We need to get another potion, clearly. But we also need to pick up the bait for the Hungry Goria. Is that how you pronounce it? The fuck is the name of it? Goria? Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. You gotta feed him a nice piece of meat, aka the bait. We're gonna be draining a pool of water to get to the next dungeon. It's pretty cool, actually. I do like this part of the game. I think it's pretty unique. You know, a lot of first-time players will obviously go through the dungeon and not be able to get past the Goria. But when you know what you do, you know, having to go back and get the bait, it's pretty cool. I think it's a cool little gimmick. Same with getting into the dungeon itself. Thankfully, we are, aside from the potion, again, done with gathering and gearing up. It is a pretty much straight shot to the end of the game, unless you suck. Being blunt. And clearly I suck, because I had to use 2 fucking potions in that last dungeon. That's pretty embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie. That one's not going in the Hall of Fame, I'll say that. Anyways, like I said, we're continuing on here to get, replenish our potion stock, as well as get the bait. I guess while I'm on my way there, we'll talk a little bit about the next dungeon. Obviously, we gotta feed the Hungry Goria to pass through. We also can get the red candle there. Obviously another heart container and another piece of the Triforce. Picking up our medicine, aka our scrub protection, our scrub insurance. And now we're gonna go grab the bait. Should have plenty of rupees. I don't remember how much it is off the top of my head, but it's back in this general section that we were in earlier in the game. That's where we bought the ring, remember? Get in there quick. It's only 60 rupees, that's not bad at all. And then we could head to the dungeon. Why am I having trouble remembering who the oh. It's another Aquamentus boss. It's basically literally the same boss that we fought in the first dungeon. A little lazy. I don't like when they do that shit. Because in my opinion, it's like, you know, with games like MMOs and stuff like that, I could totally see, you know, a lot of reskins. But a game like this, like, did we really need to, like, do the same boss? I feel like they could have came up with something a little bit more interesting, but anyway. If we blow our fairy flute, this pool will drain and it will unveil the dungeon entrance, which again, for the record, is called the Demon. I don't really see it as far as the shape. Shape of the dungeon's just kind of weird looking. Almost looks like, I don't know, E.T. and the Atari or something, but either way. So, as I mentioned earlier on the way here, the red candle is the item of the dungeon, and the boss is the Aquamentus yet again. So we're going to be on the journey here for the red candle. We are approaching the, this is what I dubbed the end game. Once you start getting to this dungeon, it's like, it's all downhill from here, so to speak. Only 2 dungeons remain after this. You know, I'd actually argue this dungeon's easier than the one that we were just in. Surprisingly. Anyway, we burst our way through the wall there. Continuing on into this room with bats and those weird, kind of homey things. I don't even know what the hell those are. They're like spikes. Again, we're going to completely avoid the Dodongos. There's no reason to. I believe the door to the north there would replenish your bombs if need be, but we are good on bombs. We're trying our best to not be wasteful. We're going to clear this room of the enemies, which will open up the door to the right. However, do we need to go here? Do I make another mistake? I think there's an item in here, but we don't even need it. Yeah, it's the compass, right? I think I just grab it because at this point I've already made the the error of coming in here. Yeah, you did not need to go into this room, guys. That was another veer off the course that was not needed. Instead, we continue on north, which is where we should have went in the first place. We're gonna go ahead and clear this room of the enemies so we can unlock the door. I left that fairy there just in case we eat some damage, which I did, and then of course I took too long, so then the fairy disappears. So the strategy didn't work as planned, unfortunately, but it's okay. And again, a lot of the times when we get the reshuffled bosses as enemies, if we don't have to fight them, we will not fight them. That's the name of the game. Going to clear this room because why not? It reopens the door in case we need to backtrack. I don't think we need to do, but you never know. And here is the Hungry Goria, which we have to use the bait in order to proceed. Grumble, grumble, as you see. Give him the bait, he disappears, and now you can continue on through the dungeon. The northern quadrant, if you will. Actually, it's not a quadrant, it's like the northern half of the dungeon, to be more accurate. Again, we didn't, well, technically we did go out of our way to get the compass by accident, but we didn't go out of our way to get the map. It just kind of was here, so we just grabbed it. Helps ground us a little bit more, in my opinion. There is a secret room to the north with rupees in it. I might blow it up. Yeah, it looks like I do. That's fine. Again, probably a bit of scrub protection, especially since I had to rip through my potions as much as I did in the previous dungeon. Gonna have to clear the room of enemies here in order to advance. Not a big deal. These guys don't bother me too much. You gotta be careful with the boomerangs, but your shield could block them, so. A pretty well-timed fairy there, although we weren't super damaged, but it's still always good to top off the health. You saw the moment of hesitation there. That was me thinking, ah, shit, which way do I go? Even right now, I can't even quite remember where to go, but the boss is actually nearby, but you have to take a warp to get it. Do I accidentally warp to the boss? I can't recall if this is the warp to the boss, or if this is the warp... No, this is the warp to the... Yeah, I know where this goes. Okay. So we cleared the enemies, move the block, and go down the stairs here. And this gets us our candle. Yeah, the warp to the boss, or the stairs to the boss you need to take, it's in the Wall Master room that I made, I think it might have been my first YouTube short, where he grabbed me and brought me back to the beginning of the dungeon. I'm a little bit better at fighting them now. I kind of get how to manipulate their RNG, so they don't just fucking seemingly randomly appear out of nowhere. Yes, we have to work our way basically to the northeastern quadrant there, the last square, or I guess rectangle, tile of the dungeon. Am I killing these guys hoping for heart drops? Because I don't need to kill these guys. I'm assuming that's probably what I'm doing. Can they even drop hearts if they're blue? I don't remember. Well, either way, I guess no skin off my back. But yes, we have to push our way through to the right, and then to the north, and then to the right. And we're gonna have our best friend. We actually have to kill him, unfortunately. So, again, play the flute. I don't even bother with the bomb drop at this point. But now I do. But yeah, you could see the, if you do a well-placed bomb, I think you could possibly kill them all in one shot, or maybe two bombs. Makes it a little bit easier, but it's not the end of the world either way. If you have like half-decent sword skills, it's really not that bad. Again, we skipped through the Dodongo room that we just saw, and now we are in the infamous Wallmaster room. I believe you have to kill all of them, so you have to bait all of them out. I don't remember how many there are. I think it's like 5 or 6. So I soon noticed that I accidentally walk out of the room, but the way to bait them is you just basically like kind of like walk around the edges. We're being very careful because in essence of time, we don't want to be drugged back to the beginning of the dungeon. I'm not super concerned about getting through and dying, I just don't feel like wasting another 5 to 10 minutes of my time. So unfortunately, since these enemies can paralyze you, we gotta be very, very careful. And then I think at this point they stop spawning there, but I actually have to walk a different direction. You have to put yourself more in a danger zone, so to speak, which does stink. Oh, that helps. Didn't matter anyway. Oh my god, I remember this now. I walked out of that room by accident twice. But this stairwell that we just unearthed, thankfully we killed all the enemies, it doesn't really matter, and these things don't actually hurt you. So we just bully our way through. And this stairwell will lead us basically a room away from the boss. Same strategy that we employed during the first boss encounter. I don't believe you need to kill all these guys, but I might just do it. Yeah, all you have to do is bomb through the wall, I think, so. The completionist in me, I guess. Although this is far from a completionist run since we don't grab all the maps, don't grab all the compasses, and we skip the key! Alright, so again, nothing we haven't seen before. Bomb to the wall. Continue on another rather easy boss fight. Same old song and dance. Hit him in the head. Very easily dead. Grab another heart container. Grab another Triforce. And moving along in our journey onto the second to last dungeon of the game, known as the Lion. Again, if you start at the initial, spawn point, very quick to get there. However, we did not. So we're gonna have to take the longer way. which isn't a huge deal. We did not use a potion, but kind of, sort of on the way to this dungeon. It's like another square away. You could replenish your potion if need be. So never fear, guys. As long as you have the rupees, you'll always be able to heal yourself. Again, this is another weird one. Again, referred to as the lion. I'm not really seeing it. I guess I can kind of see the lion mane, sort of. It's sort of weird looking. I don't know. But what are we going to be doing in this dungeon? Well, the magical key's here, and I know for a fact that I skipped that, so there's that. There's also the magic book, and obviously another heart container, and the last heart container, excuse me, and the Triforce, piece of the Triforce. But yeah, the magic key is useful, especially if you've been going through and unlocking everything, but since I haven't, I still have 8 keys. Like I said, I don't want to play it off like I'm some Ultra G here. I literally forgot to grab it. I probably would have just grabbed it because I like grabbing the items, but I forgot. Ultimately, it didn't matter because I have so many keys, I don't even know what to do with them. And for reference, the magical key has like a lion head on it, so that's probably why the dungeon's referred to as the lion. I guess in a way, is it shaped like the key? Let me look at it again. Look at the, yeah, it's kind of shaped like the key, I guess. That's probably why. That's actually pretty interesting. But, yeah, so, again, continuing on with the lazy stretch of the game, the boss of the dungeon is gonna be Gleeok again, the, I guess it is a 3-headed dragon. I think I said 2 by accident earlier, but... Anyway. Yeah, it bothers me when they start doing that stuff, but it is what it is. Okie doke. Let me scroll back up here to my notes. Second to last dungeon height, people. We have a manhandler that we do have to kill, unfortunately, but as you guys know, not too bad. A well-placed bomb or 2 will get the job done. In that case, it was 1 plus a sword strike. Nothing crazy. Trying to remember what I did to avoid the magic key. This seemed kind of odd and out of character for me. Another one of my favorite rooms. Could have used that a little bit earlier, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, right? We're gonna take that and go down the stairs, and very early on we get the magic book. That might have been why I didn't get the key. To be honest with you, is I wanted to get this, and I think in my head I was like, okay, we got the item, let's just keep going. But, yeah, we forgot to get the key. So yes, there is a magic key in this dungeon. I will try my best to point out to you, if I could even remember at this point, the spot to kind of go get it, if you did want it. There's gonna be another warp room, okay? It's gonna have Iron Knuckles and Pole's voice, so it's kind of a shitty room. That might have actually been why I ended up not doing it, because I just didn't feel like dealing with that. But, it's towards the northern... I think it's towards the northern section of the map, if I remember correctly. Let me think here. Yeah, it's like, it's like the northeastern prong when you look at the entirety of the map. There's like 4 prongs, 1 at the base and then 3 at the top. It's not the tippy top of the map, but it's the eastern section. Anyway, if you go there, you clear the room of the enemies and you move the thing, you can warp yourself down using the stairs to get the magic key, but again, we end up avoiding it, so let's get back on track. Just wanted to let you guys know, in case you are starved for keys, that you can grab that here. So, another one of my clearly favorite rooms in the entire game. Blue Iron Knuckles and statues that shoot at you. That's just absolutely fucking wonderful, right? So we'll try our best to get through here. I'm not gonna front and say that this is gonna be very clean. It's about as clean as it can be for me, I suppose. I feel like I'm pretty decent at dodging and using the shield, though. It's the iron knuckles, man. Those are the ones that I always get caught up on. But after getting out of that debacle, I think I realized at that point, Cody, you have so many keys, you don't need this shit anymore. I don't know what I'm doing here. I should have just pushed forward right away. At this point, like, I don't need to kill these things. But apparently I do. Maybe because I wanted the bombs? I don't know. Lots of bomb droppage. Another one of my favorite rooms, guys. Fortunately, this opens the door, which basically spits us out by the boss. This is the room where, if you want to go get the magical key, you have to bomb through the northern part of the wall here. And then you either have to kill a manhandla or you have to use a key and continue north. And then you have to go right. Basically, one of the other reasons why I think I ended up not doing it is there's a bunch of, there's just a bunch of bosses as normal enemies on the path there, and I think I was just like, fuck that, I'm trying to get out of here. Because as you could already see, I'm eating a lot of damage at this point, and because of the fact that I have 8 keys and we're almost done with this dungeon, and there's only 1 dungeon remaining, I think it was the right call. But again, if you guys need it, you basically continue north, and then go to the right, north twice, and then go to the right. And, yeah, you have to deal with a lot of, boss reskin normal enemy situations, but thankfully for us, we don't have to deal with that bullshit. Plus, there's another key in here if I actually want it. I don't know if I go grab it or not. It's up for debate. But, we are almost done with this dungeon, guys, which means we are nearing Death Mountain. There's really not much to talk about anymore in terms of this dungeon. We got the book, which is ultimately what we wanted, and the boss is just going to be Gleeok. So I'm probably just taking my time here killing these guys because it's pretty tight quarters, obviously. You pretty much have to move in a straight line the whole way through. Obviously, I need to kill them anyway, clearly, to get out of the room, but in general. Or did I? Can I go around a different way? Oh, that's right, I don't need to kill them, my bad. I'm out to lunch, guys. I am out to lunch. So here we have another Gleeok, same old shit, we're just going in and mashing around, and he dies with relative ease. We get the last heart container and another piece of the Triforce of Wisdom, and we are on our way to Death Mountain. I apologize earlier for the pole voice room. I was, for some reason, thinking... At first I was right, I was like, yeah, I don't know why I'm killing all these guys other than being careful. I guess if you wanted to go get the key, definitely have to be careful, right? Because it was a straight shot all the way over there. But yeah, all I have to do is bomb that wall to get to the boss. I was for some reason thinking it was the left room, but the left room leads you into another shitty iron knuckle room, and then just gives you a pathway to another old man to give you wisdom, and then you can bomb your way through to get to the boss. So there are 2 ways to get to the bosses, but bombing the north wall is the easiest. As long as you don't have any pulse voices in your way, you can just get there really quickly. Alright, Death Mountain time, which is good because I'm getting sick of doing the voiceover, and I'm sure you guys are getting sick of me doing the voiceover, right? So, what's the deal with Death Mountain? Well, it's the last dungeon of the game. I don't think I need to get another potion, but there is one nearby in case you do need it, which is great. The main things that we need to worry about in Death Mountain, one, it is very twisty, turny, it's huge, it's in the shape of a skull, basically. There's lots of warps. It's very easy to get lost in here if you don't know where you're going. So take notes, guys. Take notes, take notes, take notes. I'm telling you right now. And there's kind of 2 paths that you could take through. There's one if you have the magical key where nothing matters at all. There's another if you don't have the magical key, but even though I don't have the magical key, I have 9 fucking keys. I have plenty of keys to get through. I don't need to grab any keys. I might grab some keys on the way through, but I don't need to, is the point. The main thing I would say when you go in here is make sure you have potions and make sure you have bombs and make sure you have some rupees in case you run out of bombs and you need to go get some. There's 2 items to grab in here aside from obviously the map and the compass. One is, I think is it just called the red ring probably? Yeah, it's just the red ring. It's an upgrade on the previous ring. I think it gives Link the cool, the dark red outfit, which is usually synonymous with the end of the game because most people obviously grab it for sure, especially on casual runs. But also, the most important item in there is the silver arrow. You need to shoot Ganon with the silver arrow to actually kill him. I don't think you can kill Ganon without it. I don't know if there's some kind of glitch or something, but those are the 2 items that I get. And then ultimately at that point, guys, it's just a, you're on a straight shot to Ganon. Usually when I go in here, in some way, shape, or form I have to leave. I feel like I don't have to leave on this trip, which is good. I think I usually run out of bombs for some reason. But I don't think I do this time. So anyways, after I gave you the rundown, the briefing of Death Mountain, let's actually get there, right? So we're gonna cut up this way, and we're basically gonna go north. Basically north all the way, really. And then we're gonna be cutting over to the left. And the entrance to Death Mountain is right by a potion area, so I'll point that out before we go in. Lots of tough enemies around here, by the way, so it's not like smooth sailing. Gotta be careful. I think I was hoping for like a heart drop or something there, but it was not to be. But this is the screen of the entrance to Death Mountain. And don't know if we end up going over there or not. I probably do, because I remember I'm like at the end of the game at this point, so I make sure to be like super conservative. But you blow this up, and that is the entrance to Death Mountain. Kind of makes sense, because it's shaped like a skull, right? And those almost kind of like remind you of like the skull eyes, if you will. But if you go to the screen to the left, that is a potion vendor, and here we are. This is it. We're in Death Mountain. And we are on now the search for the red ring. So again, guys, lots of warps. So just kind of pay attention. I think I get through here pretty smoothly in terms of not getting lost. So this should be a pretty good guide for people if you have trouble with Death Mountain. As soon as I say that, I'll probably take the wrong turn somewhere. Yeah, I don't think I took the wrong turn there. I think I wanted to reset the room, because I wasn't really feeling comfortable with where I was. I end up using the upgraded magical wand quite a bit. Certain enemies doesn't really do anything too clearly, but some it does. And it's a good long-range projectile, and it creates the fire too, so it ends up being a double whammy if the enemy walks through it. In the case of this guy here, got a good heart drop there, which is also great. And now we start with the stair warping. This is going to bring us towards northern middle, I guess you'd say, of Death Mountain. This is another enemy that I like to use this magic wand on. Makes things easy, puts me out of harm's way. Plenty of keys, guys, so we'll just end up going right through the key door. The red ring is in the northeastern section of this map. Again, we're not I might pick up the map. I can't remember. I might do it here, but that's out of character for me, so who knows. So we're gonna blow our way through this door, and we're going to, I think I was trying to kill some enemies through the through the blocks, and that wasn't working, obviously. Yes, who doesn't like a nice dark Wizrobe room? Everybody's favorite. I believe this room actually has the compass in it, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so I think I was like debating on getting the compass. Don't know why I would have ever thought that would be a good idea. But I'm pretty sure it is in that room. If you kill all the Wizrobes, I believe it appears, so. And that's the enemy I was talking about. This is a run killer enemy for me. It didn't happen to me, thankfully, on my run attempts or my practice, but in the past I've died at those things probably 2 or 3 times. They can be very tough, so be careful when you do have to deal with them, and you do have to deal with them in this dungeon. So we're gonna bomb through the wall here. We're now on, I believe, the eastern side of the dungeon, and we just have to kind of work our way north. You can see how it's very easy to run out of bombs, because if you end up getting the key, you just naturally have to use a bunch of them. And as far as my strategy on this particular enemy, I kind of just like stay at a distance, and I honestly just mash the button at this point. This wasn't very smooth, but I believe that, oh my god, I remember that. I remember that now. I accidentally pressed the bomb button, probably because I was freaking out. But later on, you have to face another one. And I think I do a much better job on that guy. Oh my god, that's right, we're like almost out of bombs. I think I almost leave the dungeon. I need one more bomb to get through this north wall to go grab the ring. But I think, yeah, I end up getting bomb drops, thank god. Because this has happened to me before. I basically go get the ring, I'm at like 1 bomb or 0 bombs, I get no drops, and then I have to go buy some, which is super duper annoying, but I got saved by the RNG gods there. Alright, now we're about to go grab the ring. Unfortunately, not the best room, but we get a wonderful stopwatch there, and we get a fairy. The RNG gods are blessing us so much. Look at that, and we're picking up hearts. This honestly was a best case scenario room. We get a fairy, we get a heart, and we get the time stop. Because otherwise that room could be really freaking annoying. Grab the ring, we're derping, and now we're in our nice red and brown outfit. Which means it's time to go set course for the silver arrow. And then once we get the silver arrow, we're pretty close to Ganon's quarters. So the silver arrow is almost the exact opposite of where the red ring was. It's that visible northwestern point. Not at the tippy top, but to the left. And we skip by that guy, because fuck that. We're gonna blow through the wall here. We didn't need the hint, we already knew that, but it is a good hint for people that aren't in the know, of course. And we're gonna be taking a warp here. Of course, we have to deal with the Wizrobes. Naturally, nothing is easy. This is the last dungeon of the game, right? So after we clear the room of the blue Wizzies, we are able to push this block, take the stairs, and it will warp us to the western side of Death Mountain. And now, we're actually pretty freaking close to getting the silver arrow. It's my best friend again, guys. There he is. Lots of them in this dungeon, as you saw. What? There's been 3 already, right? Taking care of business, though. I feel like I definitely handled this one a little bit better. I was kind of put in a weird spot last time. Yeah, of course I get hit a bunch, but, you know, there was an instance there where I think I killed 3 of the surrounding things in a row, which is pretty cool. And there, I think I decided to test my luck, but yes, you cannot actually damage this guy until you kill all of his cronies, so to speak, so... And now, we're gonna take another warp. Yeah, we're getting really good drops in this dungeon, man. Very timely things, whether it be the hearts, the fairies, the bombs, whatever the case may be. It's been very, very generous. Because this is not an easy place, obviously. Another heart, wow. It's like every time we get hit, these guys are just dropping hearts. It's like a fucking charity event. And I ain't complaining. So at this point, I think I had a little brain fart, and I'm like, wait a minute. Where am I supposed to go again? Because with all the warping, things do get a little bit confusing. But fortunately, this is the room that leads to the Silver Arrow. So same old shit. We have to deal with a litany of crappy enemies, and then eventually you'll push the one block, and it'll unveil the stairwell in the top right corner of the room, which will lead to the Silver Arrow. I'm definitely approaching the danger zone of where I might want to use a potion, but I think I'm trying really hard to not use a potion until I basically get to Ganon's room. But I know for a fact that I definitely use a potion preemptively to be safe, to basically become sloppy. And I think it's during Ganon, if I remember properly. There it is, guys. That's the Silver Arrow. That's the last item that we need. We no longer need anything else other than don't die and get to Ganon and kill Ganon. So that is our game plan. So now we're gonna have to take the warp stairs again. Basically going backwards at this point. And thankfully, we're pretty close to the final warp stair area. Take our time here. Probably, I was gonna say switch over to the magical wand, of course. Make things a lot easier from a distance. That guy iframed me there. Top tier skills. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but there you clearly saw the magical wand also doubles as like a candle. It lights up the rooms too, so it's a very, very useful item. In my opinion, it's probably the only like secondary like attacking item that I ever use. It's unfortunate that you don't get its like super duper powers until late in the game though. Alright, so we're in this room now, which I believe leads us to another warp, is that correct? Yes, another warp stair. Gonna take that guy out. We're actually getting a little bit low in the health, so you do gotta be careful here. Again, you should have a red potion, but if you could delay it as long as possible without truly putting yourself in harm's way, I would recommend it. I'm going to assume, yes, at this point I was deciding, should I just do this or not? This room might be really shitty. And we get God tier RNG once again. Oh my god, the RNG was so... I remember this now. It was so good. Freezing the hard rooms, giving me fairies and stuff. It's just like... Dude, you couldn't ask for better stuff. So we're gonna bomb through this wall. And there's gonna be another warp here, and then it's gonna put us on a direct path to Ganon. So we are quickly approaching the end. Easy enemies here. We will equip the magic wand just to make it even easier. If I could even hit anything, of course. There we go. Ran into my own fire. It's never good. One more enemy to go, and then we will take another set of warp stairs, and it will put us into a room that has that really annoying enemy. Of course, they gotta put that right before Ganon, right? And here we are, this is the final gauntlet. Gotta deal with this guy. We're gonna have our potion ready in case he fucking destroys us. And I do a pretty damn good job on this guy, if I do say so myself. I handled that very, very well. And now we're in Ganon's room, guys. We unveil the Triforce. Ganon is now seen. He warps around the room, so I typically just kind of mash my sword and try to stay to the lower left quadrant. I preemptively use a potion there, because I want to be safe at this point. I've already hit him once. And now, at some point, I get really kind of just lazy. Probably because I know that I have another full heal. But as you could see, I do get hit quite a bit if I remember correctly. It might be now, because I think he only needs like 1 or 2 more hits. And at this point, I'm like, oh shit. We're done. Yeah. I'm getting really impatient, and because of that, I'm getting hit quite a bit. But there it is. 1 more hit, like I said. Shoot him with the arrow. Ganon is done. Take that, you piece of shit. And then we continue forth, go through the fire, rescue Princess Zelda, and that's it, guys. That is the Legend of Zelda. No death on the NES. This is not the Master Quest. I still haven't played the Master Quest. I will soon. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the playthrough. Hopefully maybe I gave you some better routing. Maybe I gave you some better tips. I know this wasn't a perfect run. Took a lot of damage at a few spots. Took a few wrong turns here and there. But in general, I feel like I did a good job of kind of streamlining your way through the game for a non-speedrun, no-death route. If you guys did enjoy this, please make sure to like the video, comment to do my best to reply to all comments and all videos, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.